So today we're going to be doing a showcase on yours truly, Gepard, which is the 5-star ice tank unit, or preservation, which is someone that specializes in defense. Gepard is a great defensive unit that helps your allies from taking damage, and also likes to absorb damage from other enemies by causing attention to himself. So let's go ahead and get right into his kit. But before we move on, guys, I'd appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like the video, and share this around. And after I start going his skills, guys, I do want to let you guys know that for his light cone, which is his weapon, this specific Gepard actually has his light cone. And this light cone just further enhances his ability of being able to attract attention to himself so the enemies can go ahead and attack him. Now, his specific light cone has a picture of himself just like all the other light cones do, and the name of his light cone is Moment of Victory. And what this exactly does, guys, is very, very strong, of course, because it's a 5-star light cone and it's specifically for Gepard, so he's going to get all the benefits from the passive ability, is that it increases his defense by 24% and effect hit rate by 20%. Now, effect hit rate is really good because on his E, he has an ability that it can use to make the enemy frozen, but it can get resisted. But because it has a 20% more chance of hit rate, meaning it has a 20% less chance of getting resisted, so that's really good. And the defense percentage he's getting from this is really good because in most of his skills, he scales off defense, but we'll go over his skills in a little bit. Let's just finish going over his light cone here. And also what it does, it increases the chance of the wearer to be attacked by enemies. It's like a taunt, but not really, but causes attention to himself. And then when the wearer is attacked, increase their defense by an additional 24% until the end of the wearer's turn. So this is huge, guys. This light cone's really good. Most of the time I wouldn't do a character showcase with their light cones, but it's nice to have it because this Gepard does not have the ability that actually gives him the higher chance to be able to get attacked from his traces. So this actually goes well with him to give you a better picture of when he actually does get this ability unlocked. But yeah, let's just jump right into it so I can show you guys Gepard. Okay, so we have the boy Gepard here, and let's go over his E ability real quick, which actually costs 1 skill point. And this is how it looks when he switches to that stance. He gets like this, I don't know what you want to call this weapon, but that's the weapon he uses, like a suitcase kind of a thing, I don't know. But yeah, for his E ability, is basically a multi-hitting attack, which is good for breaking. And it also has a 65% chance of freezing. Now remember, guys, since he does have his light cone, it does increase the chance of him landing that by increasing his hit rate by 20%. So let's go ahead and showcase that here. And we were not able to get the freeze there, but the freeze is really good, guys, because it actually causes, as you guys, also he's getting hit here, and notice Brawny was not getting attacked. I also wanted to point that out because he has this light cone, or whenever you do unlock that ability in the trace, he will cause attention to himself, so enemies will be able to hit you and you'll be able to keep your allies safe and stuff, so that you don't have to worry about them taking as much damage. You do build this guy with a lot of defense, and that works out for him. He's able to soak up more damage that way and be tanky, so he can go ahead and keep your teammates safe. Like I said, he does scale off defense, but we will show you guys that here in a little bit because his ultimate scales off his defense. And now for his basic ability, guys, it's just a single target damage dealing move that does ice damage. These guys aren't weak to ice, but either way, I just want to show you guys the animation on how that looks. It is a multi-target hitting move, so that's really good as well. Now onto his ultimate, guys, which is called Enduring Bulwark, and it applies a shield to all allies, absorbing damage equal to 40% of Gepard's defense. Right, so that's why you want to build them with a lot of defense, because this ability does scale off of it, meaning more damage your team will be able to absorb, and more tankiness for you to be able to absorb damage while you're attracting attention to yourself. And then you also get this flat amount of shield that you get for you and your allies. And the good thing about this is that it's going to be up for 3 turns, guys. So he has probably the strongest shield in the game. Now, one thing I do wish they do clean up in this game, guys, is that I would like for them to clean up the shielding UI for how it looks when they have a shield, because it's a little bit confusing and we don't know how much shield they have left or stuff like that. But let's go ahead and show his ultimate here, guys. Let's proc it, and this is how his ultimate animation looks. Very awesome. Boom. And now we put the shield on us. We have a huge 761 shield on us that we'll be able to take damage from. Now, as I was saying earlier, guys, we do have a shield from here. As you can see here that our HP bars are kind of like shining or glimmering with this effect on it. That it's not really showing us how much shield we have. But one thing I did notice, that if you do come to the character screen while you're in mid battle by pressing C, it will show you exactly how much shield you have left. but you have to get into the character screen for you to be able to proc this. And you can also see other stats, how much energy you have exactly in your HP. But I would like for the shields to be more visible and easier to see in the game. Let's go ahead and see if we can try to freeze these guys. And I honestly want to see if we can proc his passive because I want to go over that. So there you go. We got a freeze right there. And as you guys can see, freeze is a very strong ability. Most of you guys will start off with March 7th, which is a 4-star unit that does AoE freeze. But he only has a single target freeze because his job is mainly to keep your allies protected and cause attention to himself. And he does have the benefit of still freezing an enemy, but not AoE, which is still good because freeze is super strong, and it's about on the same level as stun because it's basically gonna make the enemy skip their turn and you don't have to worry about him doing anything to you or your teammates. So let's go ahead and see if we can proc his passive. We just have to be able to have him eat through our shield and stuff, and then we will be back so I can show you guys his passive. Now I do want you to note though, guys, just because he's attracting attention to himself, it doesn't mean it is going to be as strong as a taunt. When you have taunt on a character and you use that ability, it's going to actually provoke the enemy and make the enemy attack you. This is just giving him a higher chance of being attacked, but there's still always going to be a chance that the enemy still can attack your teammates. So it's not as strong as a taunt, and I want you guys to keep that in mind as well. So I think we'll be able to proc our passive here, guys. And his passive, basically what it does, it causes him not to die and be able to revive and heal his HP back up by 35%, I believe. So let's go ahead and check that out. He should proc it here. So he gets down here, and there he goes. He comes back to life. And the reason why this is good is because since he's going to be attracting attention to himself, he's going to be most of the time getting attacked. And if there is that instance where you do get downed, you'll be able to come right back up, and then you'll be able to come in and proc your barrier to protect your allies and keep CCing them with the enemies with the freeze and stuff. Now, one thing that goes really well with his passive, guys, it's going to be in his traces, which is the tree where you go ahead and you level up your talents, which is in this area right here. But there's these 3 main abilities that you can get when you unlock them. The first one we went over, which increases his likelihood of being attacked by the enemies even more. So you're definitely gonna want to unlock that and all the other abilities I'm going to go over. And then we have Fighting Spirit, which Gepard's attack increases by 35% off of his current defense. Again, another move that scales off his defense. And this effect will refresh at the start of each turn, which gives him more attack and more damage, just to be able to be more of a bruiser. And then we have Commander, guys. This ability, when you trigger your passive, which is when you get downed, you resurrect and come back to life. It's gonna be able to make him have 100% energy. So he'll be able to have his ultimate as soon as he comes back to life, that you'll be able to proc, which is really strong. And then next for his Eidolons, guys, which is basically constellations from Genshin Impact, or a duplicate system that you use when you pull the same character and you feed it into himself. He gives himself this bonus. Now the first Eidolon that he gives himself, but I'm going to refer to as E1, is Due Diligence, which increases the chance of him being able to freeze the enemies by 35%, which is good. I think it's at 65% right now. So this will basically make it 100% chance for you to be able to land the freeze. Kind of nuts. So then we have his E2, which is Lingering Cold, which is after an enemy that was frozen by Gepard's ability, his skill. If they become unfrozen, they'll go ahead and have their speed reduced by 20% for 1 turn. So again, more disruption for the enemies. Then on his E3, it's just flat up increases on his abilities. Then on his E4 is called Faith Move Mountains. And when Gepard is in battle, all allies' effect resistances is increased by 20%, which is very nice, because if you're going against those enemies or tough bosses that are constantly landing debuffs on you, like stun, frozen, or can't attack or anything like that, it gives your allies 20% more resistance for them not to land those debuffs on you. And then his E5 is just more boost to his abilities. And then on his E6 is called Unyielding Determination. And this goes with his passive when he gets taken down and comes back to life. What this does is it advances him to 100% on the turn meter. And then after that, it restores an extra 50% of his HP of already from the 35% that he's getting from his passive. So it's going to be an almost a full heal that he gets, and he'll go ahead and be able to get his turn. And on top of that, because of his traces, he'll have his ultimate already ready, so you can go ahead and proc that and use that shield ability to help your teammates be safe even more. As far as build, this Gepard that I'm using is from a support friend, and they are rocking the 4-piece Knight of Purity Palace, which the 2-piece increases his defense by 12%, and the 4-piece increases his max damage that can be absorbed by the shield created by the wearer by 20%, which makes you absorb even more damage. And then the 2-piece he has right now, which is more of an offensive set that you give them. It's not going to be the most optimal, but this is the only one that they have for now. But yeah, Gepard, guys, is going to be a great addition to any team, especially when you get to those bosses that are going to be very hard, or those enemies in the late game, and you need some more protection to be able to keep your enemies safe with a huge barrier that he provides, and the CC that he can bring, and the attention that he can bring to himself to keep your enemy safe. Again, it's not as strong as a taunt, but it still is somewhat of a provoke to a certain extent, which will keep your allies a bit more safe than usual. That is basically his job, is just to keep his team safe and to keep proccing those shields. And if he does by the chance get downed, he has his res to fall upon on his passive, and then he'll come back to life and keep proccing those shields and keeping your team safe, basically. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this early game showcase of Gepard. Leave a comment down below with what are your thoughts on this unit, and I will see you guys in the next one. It's your boy Jada. I'm out. Peace.